So apparently Kevin Feige is trying to capture some Keanu Reeves magic by invoking a claim that they have been consulting with Keanu just about every time they have a movie coming up in the hopes of getting him in there. And the fact that he's saying something like that publicly is possibly a negotiating tactic to try to get him to finally roll over and accept a role. But what on earth could Keanu be playing? Well, it could be a lot of different things, but my own personal wish for it that I think could be cool, and it could also help tie into a few other little issues about how to resolve some things with it, would be to have Keanu Reeves play Cyclops in whatever the X-Men universe reboot for the MCU is going to end up being. Obviously, he will be an older Cyclops. Because of what we've seen of how Marvel has treated both the Incredible Hulk and the Spider-Man movies that they've dabbled alongside with Sony, with Tom Holland, that they don't like retreading ground that's already been trod in previous movie forms. Hence, Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk did not really go over anything that was already done in Ang Lee's Hulk, even though Ang Lee's Hulk is not part of the MCU canon. But as far as they're concerned, movie-going audiences that were inclined to comic movies had an idea of how the Hulk was started. So even if the details are a little bit different in the MCU, they can flash those up during the opening credits, yada, yada, yada. Same thing with Spider-Man. We already know about the Uncle Ben's death. We already have seen him get bit by the spider. We don't need to do that again. Just tell us a story that we haven't been told before and a villain that hasn't been done already a billion times. And so Marvel, with that kind of a mind frame, is going to be looking now at the X-Men. And there's already been like a dozen X-Men movies and a bunch of shit has already been done. We can pretty much guarantee that we're not going to see a version of the Dark Phoenix again for a long time, because that's already been done twice. And we're probably not going to get much in the way of like a first-class early days origins. We're probably not going to get a mutant cure storyline. I personally have actually been actively starting to buy a bunch of old classic trade paperbacks of X-Men just to kind of get an idea of what other kind of things they might pull off. My secret wish would just be to have them start off with Extinction Agenda, because it's technically kind of where I started off when I was a kid and first got into X-Men. But anyway, because of the fact that they're not going to want to retread a lot of things, and then there's this mumbo jumbo about the whole, like, well, why are we even calling it X-Men in the year 2019? Like half the, characters are female, and really Marvel's problem all this time in terms of a lack of female diversity in the MCU is, well, Marvel's best women characters are all part of the X-Men sub-universe of the MCU. So now they got them back. They could easily like do a lot of spin-off type stuff, which might be wise. Like just have like make solo movies out of popular characters. Have a Dazzler movie. I hear there's apparently going to be a Dazzler TV show on Hulu. We'll see how that goes. I personally think Dazzler should get a movie. But tying back to the Keanu Reeves as Cyclops thing, the X-Men universe already have a bunch of other X teams that aren't called X-Men that are already established. The classic X audience has been hungering for an X Factor movie or an X Force movie or an Excalibur movie. These can all be done. They can just kind of give us a sense that this timeline's been going on. I almost kind of wonder if, because since they have Wanda Maximoff in the main MCU, if they could do like a reverse House of M, and that the entire time the MCU we've been watching was the No More Mutants timeline, and then something will happen where Wanda undoes that, and the true timeline where the X-Men and mutants have been around this whole time gets restored and overlapped, and kind of like a Dragon Break from the Elder Scrolls kind of a thing. With the events we've already familiar with. And that way the X-Men and mutants could have been there this whole time, kind of just in an erased timeline that's restored. And that way suddenly, Scarlet Witch has her proper father and stuff. I can't help but notice that one of the toys that Amazon's pimping out for X-Men right now is this little 3-pack of a family reunion kind of thing of Magneto, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. like they're promoting to kids and getting it back in their heads that, hey, Magneto's their dad. So I don't know why they wouldn't want some sort of payoff for that in the movies down the line. But you can have Keanu Reeves as an older Cyclops, an older, wiser, battle-tested Cyclops in charge of X Factor. You can have an older Jean Grey, just all down the line. I don't know what the current answer to Generation X would be. I don't think, like, Millennial X, whatever it is probably canceled because the comics aren't selling. But anyway, that's, I guess, my thoughts on it. Keanu Reeves should be Cyclops. I can totally see him. And I think that would just be funny. It goes a little bit with his kind of cyberpunk flair, just the whole outfit and him having to wear the visor the whole damn time. You could even start off with maybe Cyclops has been in a rough patch in a universe timeline where Jean Grey's dead, and maybe you could have a bunch of shit with him going on with Madeline Pryor and stuff. But he could start off all John Wick, where it's just he's all rough and he's got 5-day shadow and his hair's all long and greasy and he's still wearing the visor and he's just in some dark room and shit, and they have to come. Havoc shows up. Get Daniel Craig to play Havoc. Yeah. Well, anyway, this can just go on forever because it's just nothing but pure speculation. And it's just pure speculation on Kevin Feige's part, saying that he'd like to get Keanu Reeves to join a movie. I'm sure Keanu Reeves wouldn't mind the paycheck, but he's not gone as far as he has in being able to maintain his career by making just complete trash decisions. So, anyway. Leave a comment and all that shit, blah, blah, blah.